Hey, what's up, you guys? It's allstar, and welcome back to Terra Nova, the all-star collab series about Mars. So I am joined today with my two very good content creator buddies. I am joined with Leaf Productions.
Hello.
As well as Bold, one of my favorite up-and-coming creators.
Hello.
So today was my episode, and I decided that I was going to go way too overambitious for my own good. So, up until now, Terra Nova has been kind of a very small niche colony. That was kind of, I don't know, it was just small in nature. Like, each week we'd kind of, add a little, a little section to the park. I know, Leaf, last week you worked on the are we even calling it a tropical dome? I don't even know.
It's more like an agricultural dome, and I thought that one was big, but when I saw this,
yeah. So going into this week, I was like, okay, here's what I want to do. I know the entire team knew that we wanted to do giant biodomes at some point. So the entire project for this week started with me having the goal of starting the first biodome, which was the Savannah Dome. That was the first one I wanted to do. And in order to do that, I had to jump through like 50 hurdles to justify getting that biodome. And I know I talked about it on my live stream with I had Silver Fox and Poison Blade on the other day. And we kind of like went over some of the stuff, and so if you actually want to check that out, I'll have a link in the description to go to that video, and you can check it out. We did some kind of off recording builds for this large project for this week. So specifically for that, we created I'm calling it the Mara Arc. So I guess I can sort of explain my story element for how I wanted to justify this ridiculous concept. So basically, I wanted it so that in our version of I guess Earth, the East African Federation, which is an actual proposed, I guess, country that has been kind of coming up for the last few years. It's basically a lot of the Eastern African countries like Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, South Sudan, etc. They wanted to make a mega country, and together their mega country would basically have a shared economy, a shared GDP, and it would actually be one of the largest in the world basically overnight. I think it would be like the 7th largest just by combining, which is actually kind of cool. So my concept was that they basically wanted to protect their most endangered species, specifically from Kenya, and that's where I got the name Mara from like the Masai Mara. And so it stands for the Martian Animal Relocation Agency. And the idea was that they were trying to relocate animals that are critically endangered to a place that would be completely unobstructed by any type of agricultural or habitat loss, poaching, etc. And so I was like, Mars, that's where they sent them. So
where else? Not the moon, not Saturn.
Yep.
We're going straight to Mars.
Straight to Mars. So the idea was that the East African Federation funded this giant Savannah Dome in order to kind of act as a permanent conservation center for the animals. But like I said, obviously, getting animals like elephants and rhinos and giraffes onto Mars is a bit of an undertaking. So in order to justify that, I had to do a lot. So on stream, you might have seen that I added the ship. That would be the transportation ship that would take the animals to Mars. So it was kind of designed in such a way that you have enough living space for like enough people, but it also has an under quarters with stables and food resources and stuff for the animals. Now, even that, we kind of ran into some funny things, like you're talking about a 6-month travel for like elephants and stuff in a relatively confined area in 0 gravity, so that definitely wouldn't stress the animals out at all. So we were trying to figure something out for that. I don't know, maybe we'll revisit that concept in a little bit, but again, it was just to justify just getting elephants onto Mars. And the other thing is, you're probably like looking at my screen right now and you're like, this doesn't even look like a savanna. And that is because I was like, well, it doesn't really make much sense to have the first biodome be a savanna, so I made an entire central hub biodome that is based around just kind of a generic like living area where we can kind of build off of for the humans. So that was sort of the idea here. And then you can also see me, I'm placing my waterfalls down right now because I was like, oh, well, I want water features in some of these domes. And then in order to justify the water features, I was like, well, how does the water get there? I need aqueducts, of course. So then I created an aqueduct in like a giant water containment system to justify having all of that. So I tried my best here, but yeah.
I just still love the fact that they were like, hey, protecting rhinos on Earth is hard, so we're going to spend hundreds of billions of dollars and get these rhinos and elephants to Mars.
I mean, there's no poachers up there, so...
It's true. That's true.
Yeah, that was my entire justification.
And not ship like an embryo, like a full-grown ass elephant.
Yes, no, because I think someone actually mentioned that we were going for... the idea of, wouldn't they send like a juvenile up there? And I'm like, yeah, that actually would have made more sense. But in last week's teaser, at the end of the video, I showed a full-grown elephant getting off the ship. So now I'm stuck with that. So
you keep digging yourself into holes. And
I know, that's why I just want to hand it off to Bold so that she can justify it. You're up next. You can do literally whatever, and then.
No, it's 6. We're putting abs on robots now.
Oh, yep, yeah.
Has left.
Because if you didn't see that, because that was the other thing. In order to justify these monumental construction projects, the current little Fred and what was the other one's name?
Greg, I think.
Greg, yeah, whatever his name was. We only know about Fred, really. In order to justify them, they weren't going to cut it to build these giant domes and ships and stuff. So we actually on stream made GigaFred, who I can probably pull up a picture here. GigaFred is he is a beast. He is about 10 times larger than the normal Fred, and him as well as the flying robots are now Gigamax sized. So they're definitely a lot better for construction of these very large bubbles and stuff of that nature. But I guess I'll ask Leaf. So what did you think of what I did based off of your last build?
Oh, I was left speechless. I had no idea where you were going with it. I was really humble with my own build. I was like, maybe this is a little too big for the colony, but looking at what you did, I mean, I love it, but damn, you just blew mine out of the water.
Yeah, I'm scared now, because now that I've set the precedent, oh yeah, you guys can go ahead and just go as bad. I know Poison Blade's gonna be like, oh, cracks knuckles, here I go. But yeah, that's why I'm definitely interested, because I mean, Bold is very, very good at habitats and stuff, so I definitely wouldn't mind if you definitely touch up that Savannah Dome and make it a little nicer looking.
Make it look like a savanna or something like that.
Yeah, mine just looks like some grass with a... And I will pat myself on the back. I think the waterfall looked nice. I made a very nice little rockwork waterfall. But yeah, the actual savanna, I literally just placed down a couple of trees and bushes and called it a day, because the actual domes and ships and stuff were taking way too long.
You could just say it's growing in. It's got to grow in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so actually, so this is interesting. So right now you see me, I'm working on the actual Africa dome. So at first what I was going to do was make a, traditional dome. But then I actually had someone on my Discord mention, and it was Trico Art, to shout him out. He said, what if the entire, like, Africa dome was more of, like, a donut? And so the, like, basically center of the actual dome was, like, a basically, like, viewing platform elevator for the humans so that they don't have to, like, interact with the animals, really. They can just kind of leave them and observe them from, like, a nice observation tower in the center. And I'm like, that's actually kind of a cool idea. So what I ended up doing is that it's basically not a dome, really. It's just a donut with a big elevator in the center. And so you can definitely check out the animals from any type of height and stuff. And you can also see me how bad I am at making domes in general, because Leaf was making fun of me the entire time. He was watching me do that, and he's like, oh my god, have you never made a dome before? Because I just didn't know how to use the mud cylinders correctly by any means. So yeah, I definitely struggled. And then I was trying to figure out a cool artistic design. I kind of liked what I ended up with in the end. It's kind of a like Afro-modern look to it, so it's kind of got some Africanized patterning, but it definitely looks very futuristic. It was just it was a give and take with the metal poles and stuff to get it going. But
It
yeah,
looks like a nightmare.
yeah, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun to do. Which I guess it brings me to your build for next week. Do you have any ideas of what you have in mind?
No.
Because I was like, I've now left it very open-ended with, you can kind of go anywhere with this if you wanted to make an entire Arctic dome with polar bears and paint, why not?
I was gonna do some human living quarters, but then I seen this lovely savannah you made, so I don't know if I'm gonna do that now or
I mean, yeah, you could always do, because I will say that in order to justify the animals, I definitely took a lot of leaps here to justify. So, because I know now we have to kind of be like, well, the animals wouldn't just be put into the dome directly. They need like a quarantine area or something, and I get that entirely. Yeah. But so you can basically go anywhere if you want to make a living quarter. Because again, I now made a human bubble, but they need a place to live because right now it's just a big park essentially, but there's no houses.
And they would need like a vet services quarantine kind of thing. They're like, they need to be able to take care of. They can't just spend $100 billion getting an elephant on Mars and then being like, oh, it died in a week.
Yeah. Well, what now? You know.
Well, I love because like you obviously work with animals professionally, and so it's just funny, like just be like you must be rolling your eyes and be like, yeah, that makes sense. Just built like. It's literally like hi, we're gonna invest in an entire ranch before we own a single chicken. Like
exactly. They're like, and also we're gonna try to ship a live elephant 8 months through space.
Yeah, and then meanwhile there's barely any humans still. They're still kind of, which I guess. And
these 6 people are gonna take care of these elephants.
Yes. But I can actually sort of justify it. So if you can see my screen right here, because we're about to jump over to the live segment. But if you actually look at these hallways, I've kind of designed them with humans in mind a little bit. So you can very quickly see me. I'm just throwing down the last touches of the actual Africa section. But with that being said, I guess we can kind of head over to the live section. Whoa! So this is Terra Nova now. It's much, much larger than it used to be, that's for sure. So you still have the old little colony, and then you just have my giant angular section that I've done. So I guess we'll just do a quick little walkthrough of what I have done. So, like I mentioned before, the Gigafred...
Stop.
I love it so much!
So, the little tiny Freds have been working to create bigger and better versions of themselves. So, Gigafred, now with little nubby arms, he's evolving, is ready. He is ready to start construction on some of the bigger projects. Same thing, we also have a bigger version of our little flying friends as well. So these guys have definitely been very helpful for constructing some of our much larger projects. So I hate this building. I'm not going to lie. It looks like a building. It's supposed to be a ship, but it doesn't look like a ship at all. Because, again, I designed it from the inside out, and it shows. So the lower quarters are for the animals. So this would be, you know, where you actually keep the animals and stuff. And then up here, this would be an elevator that takes you up. This would be the living quarters for the humans. It's not furnished or anything. I didn't have time to actually decorate it or anything. I might add some, like, bathrooms or chairs or whatever. But I thought, you know, this would be kind of cool. And just to keep an eye on the animals, because obviously 6 months in space is definitely going to stress out elephants and giraffes entirely. Again, if this was realistic, this would not be up to the standard of a 6-month containment holding area for animals of that size at all. And then finally, up at the top, you basically have kind of like a captain's, you know, I don't know, deck or something. But, you know, again, it works for what it is. And then the idea is, much like at an airport terminal, you'd basically get, like, you know, kind of like the tubes that come out or whatever, and this would be for oxygen. And so you'd have the elephants and whatever come into here. And so this would be where this is a permanent oxygenized area. So this is, you know, you can breathe without needing to worry about wearing a helmet or, you know, space gear or anything. This should be essentially the exact same as Earth, as long as you're within the confines of this bubble. Which, in order to get the bubble all set, there is connection between... Oh my god, there's so many chickens.
Oh no!
So,
I was gonna say, I kept on seeing the notifications in the corner, and I was like, do I mention the chickens are having babies still?
It's kind of unavoidable. So the chickens have definitely done well on Mars. We started with about a dozen, and now we have a lot more than that.
Oh my god, they're everywhere!
Yeah, they are absolutely everywhere. So chickens have basically taken over the entire area. So yeah, there are quite a lot of chickens in here. Bolt, our good buddy, I don't know where he is. He's somewhere around here. And then obviously we have our good little peacock friend. I saw him. I still want to strangle him. But if we go through here, so this would take us to the main dome. So I wanted to actually mention this, though. So I kind of made these like pseudo bunk bed kind of futuristic wall sections and stuff, so that maybe if you didn't want to live in one of the existing little sleeping pods that are over here, which I will say these are super nice, and they definitely, I would frankly rather live in a sleeping pod than what I have. But, you know, if we wanted to get more people into space quicker, you needed some temporary holding, you know, sleeping pods. So all of the hallways basically have little bunk beds built in. So
I just love the hallways. Like, I like the wiring and stuff in them.
Yeah, it actually looks really good if you go to, like, nighttime and stuff. Like, I love them at night.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
And
I haven't seen them at night before. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it looks very nice at night. Definitely need to light this area up. But what I kind of liked is I kept it's futuristic. It's like a future modern look to it. But there's definitely room for growth. So you have some newly planted trees. They're not, you know, full-fledged, you know, giant trees or anything. But they can grow in, you know, over time. And then I left these little plots if we wanted to do any other buildings later on down the line and stuff. And I guess I can now kind of go over to my new water filtration system that I've built. So it's just a big tank full of water that basically takes the water to the areas that would need it to. So right now we just have the Savannah Lake as well as, or I guess watering hole you could say, and the main bubble. I don't know what we're going to call them just yet. But, and then they have little pipes and stuff for filtration. Now, I have had a lot of people say that I probably should have some sort of protection over the aqueducts so that the, you know, water isn't, you know, mud, yeah, and like covered in like dust and sand and space crap and stuff. So that's another thing. Probably should have, it was a bit of an oversight. But the last thing is we can finally kind of look at the actual savannah. So you would come through here and you'd go down the really long hallway. And from here, you would come to the end of the hallway, and then this is where your actual humans would go up. So this would be a big old elevator, and then you climb up here. And so you have a couple of little viewing platform levels and stuff, and you can look out onto the savannah. So again, the savannah in its current state is extremely basic. It looks like a savannah, but it also is not a very good looking savannah. So if someone who has a better eye for, greenery or something wants to take a look at this, I would not be opposed at any means. But like I said, I do like my little waterfall with the rock work. I think it came out kind of nice.
Yeah. Stan would be proud.
Yeah, and Drew would hate me. But yeah, I think, that's basically it for my build. Again, it seems huge, and it is. But at the end of the day, it's actually kind of basic. It's just 3 little small sections with a rather boxy looking ship.
I like that you're like, well, that's basically it, as I just made something 3 times the size as the entire rest of the
Yeah, I know, like, this area is literally, like, the same here. But what I do like about the design is, luckily, I built it in such a way that we do still have plenty of room that you can definitely start connecting using the, like, pipes and, like, hallways and stuff to build other, if we want to expand out to other domes or something, we could just kind of literally shoot out little hallways from this center one, and it would work perfectly fine. Or, again, you could just connect them if we wanted to poke another hole in one of the leaves, so we could go out this way, just so that there's just kind of a network of livable, sustainable area, because I know that Terra Nova, for a while, like, this is fine, but we definitely needed something that was going to be a bit more permanent, and so, definitely kind of...
Something you wouldn't need a suit to go from building to building.
Exactly.
Like, eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, just building it building this area definitely would help. And again, it has a nice little future modern look. It adds some greenery. Like, I think that's the other thing, is it adds a little bit of color variety to the map that was probably much needed. So that it's not just, look, it's rocks and sand. It's now, we got some grass. So,
Yeah. That's a start.
But yeah, so I am very, very excited to see what Bolds does next week. Because yes, that is going to be very, very interesting.
I mean, I wouldn't get your hopes too far up, but...
But yeah, thank you guys for being here. And yeah, I don't know if you guys have anything else you wanted to mention, but past that, I think I will see you guys next time. So, bye everyone.
See ya.
Bye.